Barclays was founded in 1690 by two Quakers, John Freem and Thomas Gould. They initially set up their business at premises in Lombard Street in the City of London. Many banks started their lives on Lombard Street. It was the heart of the city, the heart of the financial district. When Freem and Gould moved to 56 Lombard Street in 1728, that was all they acquired, was that one small shop. At that point, they were goldsmith bankers, so they were buying and selling and storing gold for customers. That premises was already known by the sign of the black spread eagle. When they became Barclay and Company Limited in 1896, that spread eagle was still there. It would become what we would now know as our brand. Over the years, they took on other partners. The business eventually became Barclay, Bevan, Tritton and Company, and the business just kept on expanding. They kept acquiring adjoining premises until eventually they owned a huge block of land on the corner of Lombard Street and Gracechurch Street. There was quite a labyrinthine nature to the building as well. So behind the scenes, there were lots of little back passages, there were lots of cramped offices with poor lighting and poor ventilation. It was quite organic in a lot of ways, but it wasn't really suitable for a modern business. This is a report that was commissioned by the board of directors. The elimination of rats is certainly a health matter. If any director has a good terrier, it could be usefully employed here. By the 1930s, the bank had decided that it wanted to demolish everything that was there and build a lovely new purpose-built bank. Unfortunately, they didn't get all the permissions they needed till 1939, and at that point World War II broke out, so everything had to be put on hold, and it wasn't actually finished till 1969. The 1969 building was very impressive. It was this one big uniform structure. It had a huge eagle engraved on the corner of it. It was very obviously the Barclays head office. It was a very good building in lots of ways, and staff who worked in it were very, very fond of it. Unfortunately, the pace of technological change meant that it became unsuitable very, very quickly, and by the late 1980s, the bank had decided it was going to have to be knocked down. In 1990, Barclays built a very modern, very striking building on the site. It was 16 floors high. It was generally not favourably received by many people who had liked the 1969 building.
The Port of London was basically the world's largest port in the 19th century, and the West India Docks were one of the centres of that trade. The warehouses along the North Quay of the dock were at one point holding all the sugar of Europe in these warehouses. So it gives you a sense that this was an incredibly powerful place in terms of its hold on world trade. In the 1960s and 70s, a new way of transporting commodities began to emerge, which was the container, the unit that you could fill with any type of produce. And basically, the operation of the upriver dock, they lost their raison d'etre. It was a bit like a sort of ghost town. You had a lot of the docks were completely empty, just these enormous stretches of water.
Well, at the time, you just couldn't build these sort of buildings in the city. They had very tight planning regulations, and what you could do here was you had total freedom to build whatever size you liked. And in fact, One Canada Square, the iconic Canary Wharf One Canada Square building, is the only one built wholly on dry land. All the others are built wholly or partially out of reclaimed dock.
For the developers, there were incredible risks. No one actually knew that it was going to be a success, and there were lots of different elements that had to come together to make it a success. And it was really only at the beginning of the 1990s that it began to function as a new office district.